Hey, James. Hey, Cathy. Welcome to the His and Her Money Show.
Hello, you guys.
Hello, how are you?
We're doing well. We are excited to have you on because, man, you all have been tearing debt apart. You've been punching it in the face. You've been kicking it out your house left and right. And so we're super excited to have you here to share your journey to debt freedom and really encourage and inspire others to do what you've done. But before we jump into your story, can you just say hello to everyone that's tuned in right now and let them know what you guys are all about?
Hi, I'm Cathy St. Louis, and before I was working as a environmental specialist, but now I am currently a stay-at-home mom and blogging as well. So that's what I'm currently doing now.
Hey guys, my name is James St. Louis, and currently right now I'm a design director for an online e-commerce business and just directing design and all that good stuff. So enjoying it, great team, having fun. So
Awesome. So let's tell everybody a little bit about your debt. How much debt was it? What type of debt was it? And how long did it take you guys to pay it off?
So we had $99,000 left on our mortgage, and we paid off in 28 months. So that was our mortgage debt.
Wow.
It's awesome.
Completely debt free. 99,000, 28 months, just over 2 years,
Yes.
and just under $100,000.
Yes.
right.
That is insane.
Yeah, that's great.
Now, before that, though, y'all had, I thought I read credit card debt and student loan debt. So what's the totality of this journey that y'all went on?
Oh my goodness. We were probably at the 160,000 mark. It took us 6 years to get rid of all of our credit cards, student loan, not including our hospital bills. And
Right.
we had cars we paid off. So in total, probably around $160,000.
I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah,
Nothing to sneeze
they were
at.
determined. I love that. So talk about the moment that led you guys to actually do an about face, right? To turn around and say, you know what? We're not liking this whole debt thing and we need to get out of it. Talk about that moment.
Well, for me, I've never really liked debt so much. I mean, I've been always on the frugal side, but you know, as you get married and as incomes combine, sometimes you think you can do it all, have it all. And you know, the frugality kind of left me a little bit, but then it came back because after paying all those bills and finding out that, oh my goodness, we have nothing, almost nothing left after the month, it had to change. And I think what really changed us as well, at least for me, was when I got pregnant with my first child. And knowing that, you know, we were spending like $240 a month on gas, just gas alone for one particular car. And I was like, this can't happen anymore because I was working, and I know with kids come daycare and diapers and whatever it may be. So I knew it had to change at that moment, that we had to get it out, you know, at least to change, you know, our family tree in a sense of, I didn't want to bring my child in all this chaos that we're going through.
Right. And for sure, out of the relationship, I was the one who was the splurger who really didn't care about the finances and all that stuff. So I came in a relationship with most of the debt. In addition to the car payment that she was talking about, of course, that was this guy right here. So for sure, I believe after hearing her talk about finances and where we were at and everything like that, it really took me, it hit me hard, and I was like, man, like, I know we can do better than this, you know, especially for bringing a kid into the mix. We definitely don't want to baggage. We want to make sure we use our money wisely. So that's exactly where I guess my position was. And so definitely hearing her talk about it, it really changed my perspective on how important it is to just be debt free and lower our expenses.
Now, James, you said it hit you hard. Did it hit you hard right away? Was it like as soon as Cathy brought it to you, you saw the light of day? Did it take a couple conversations? And when you say it did hit you hard, for a lot of guys, you know, sometimes when you take a hit to your pride or your ego, it can cause you to double down and just say, no, I got this, right? But you took the opposite approach. So kind of talk us through your transition when you were first presented this information?
Yeah, I want to say it definitely took a couple of conversations. I'll say more than a couple of conversations to be able to be in a position where I fully understood what was happening and how severe this thing is. And if we do not, get our debt in order and start, reeling in some things, we're not going to be in a good position. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. You said it took a few conversations. What do you think was kind of like the nail in the coffin that Thanos snapped that said, like, man, Cathy's right. You know what I mean? And internally, because there's husbands listening right now, and maybe their wife has presented them information to them. Maybe their wife texted them this episode, like, honey, you need to listen to this. So help us all understand how you made the transition within yourself to get on board with what Cathy was trying to get you to see.
Right, and you hit it on the nail as far as the ego part, because ego was a really big part of it, I would say, because mind you, the car that I had was definitely a car that I really enjoyed, and I know that based on the finances that we're making, it's something that was easily manageable. It wasn't like we were struggling or anything like that. It was easily manageable. It's just that I think for me, it was looking at the numbers, looking and seeing how much money. She mentioned $200, $240 a month going strictly into gas
alone for that car.
Right. And so I was like, I think we can definitely do better. And understanding and seeing like, okay, well, we have student debt. I think at the time we had like just on my side, it was like $25,000 or $26,000 in student loans that I personally had. So it was kind of like, looking at that, we still got to pay all the stuff. And then seeing that I have this car payment that is not helping me reduce that, it was kind of like, in addition to understanding, okay, if we're going to bring a kid into the mix, there is expenses. And just bringing a kid into this world, it costs over $3,000, So all that stuff adds up. For me, it was looking at the numbers. The numbers really helped me out to realize, we're not using the money efficiently, and I had to let go of my ego and get something that was less, was efficient on the gas side. Yeah. So I had to trade the car, and that's what ended up happening. Yeah. Traded in the car for something that was smaller. It was economically
more economic.
Yeah.
So I'm sure everybody wants to know, what was the car that you had, and then what did you turn it in or trade it in for?
All right. So I had an Infiniti G35.
Nice.
Which I really enjoy. It's a fast car, beautiful, but it ate a lot of gas.
What color was it?
It was a silver with black tints. Silver with black tints. And we traded it in for a Chevy Cruze Eco. Not just a Chevy Cruze, but a Cruze Eco. All right. Which I actually enjoyed. It was a fun car to drive. Yeah. In addition to, like, it still looked good. Like, it had like the nice little, I guess the Eco, they kind of souped it up a little bit. So it's not just like, didn't look base. It had a little extra kick to it. So that would really kind of help me to, get it.
And it helped us out on gas a whole lot.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, my trips to work were not short trips. They were at least like, I want to say 35 to 40 minutes, 40-minute drive. So it adds up. So with dumbing down, but going to a smaller vehicle definitely helped to, alleviate the gas cost.
So how did that look monetary wise? Because I'm sure there are others that may be considering trading in their car. So when you traded in, did you have to pay extra, or was it an equal, even trade in? Like, how did that process work? And then how much did you end up saving in gas?
Oh, yes.
That's
so, yeah.
For her.
Yeah.
Let her answer that question.
She lit up. She's like, yeah, I know that.
She know the numbers.
So when we traded in, actually, we broke even. By the grace of God, we broke even. And then when we got the new car, I think our payment went from, it was around 301, I believe, to like 180, I believe. So for our payments every month. And we went from 240 a month for the Infiniti. And I think we were spending like $20 a week, $25 to $30 a week on gas.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So it was a big cost difference.
Yeah, there definitely was.
Man.
Wow.
Like by a third.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then talk about what were some of the next steps that you guys had to walk out. You traded in the car. What did you guys do next?
Cathy, you woke him up.
Yeah.
He's woke now. He's ready now. What happened next?
So after that, we definitely, after we got rid of our credit cards, we wanted to tackle our student loans. Mine, again, my husband was saying that he brought in most of the debt. So I finished off my student loans, not even a year. I think I only had like $6,000 to pay. So we wanted to put in extra, the money that we were putting in towards a credit card, we wanted to put in extra into our student loans. So I believe during the process, I think after about 4 years since we started the journey, we paid off the $25,000 of the student loan debt that my husband had. So that was the next step. And then the cars was the absolute finale done. And then that's when we looked into getting the mortgage.
Right. And I will say though that Dave Ramsey has definitely influenced us a lot. And I think that was probably one of the other inspirations, was just listening to Dave Ramsey and understanding how he goes about or suggests to pay off your debt, consumer debt.
Yes.
So did you guys do the debt snowball?
Yes. Well, first we weren't. We were like, we just saved, because for me, I'm a saver. Like, like I rather like save a lot and then, then throw, some extra money to pay off this thing in a big chunk, but having enough saved where just in case number two. Yeah, I wanted a cushion because we had kids and, I was pregnant shortly after my first child. So I wanted to have a cushion. But after I felt like we paid enough debts down, then we started doing the snowball and just started attacking it.
So talk about your process, because we always like to tell people there's no right way or wrong way. The end result was you guys are debt free. And so, hey, whatever you did worked. And that's what we're for. So talk about that saving process, because I'm sure there are people that are listening and saving is just as important to them as paying off their debt. So talk about how that played a role in your process.
Y'all had a whole lot going on. I don't want people to miss this. Y'all started this as soon as y'all got married.
Yes.
Y'all had a house that needed repairs while you all were doing all this. You all were having kids while you all were doing this. So talk about putting all that into a plan, a customized plan of attack that despite all those things, you still sit here debt-free 6 years later.
Yes. So the whole process was pretty much like whenever my husband and I would get a bonus, if it was a large enough bonus to take something out, we would take it out. Income tax, when it came to, our income taxes, we looked at it, we said, okay, well, some of the money we did use for repairs for the house because that needed to get done. But then we looked at it and said, okay, what other debt can we, put in, what can we pay off or at least put a good chunk down? So any type of like bonus that came in, my husband would get bonuses every year pretty much. So if we had a bonus that was significant amount, which they were significant, we would put them and attack a particular debt or put a good chunk down to lower our payments. That was a big one for us. And then after we finished paying off all of our consumer debt, cars and everything like that, we actually, once we looked into our mortgage, we refinanced our mortgage, not into a traditional bank refinance, we refinanced it into a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. So we replaced our mortgage with a home equity line of credit, and we just started attacking our mortgage that way because it saved us on closing costs, it saved us on PMIs, private mortgage insurance. And so it's not the traditional way, but it certainly did work for us when we looked at the numbers.
So talk about that. I'm happy that you guys brought that up. That's something different that not a lot of people consider. I'm familiar with what a HELOC is, but talk about what a home equity line of credit. I'm assuming it was a home equity line of credit, or was it a home equity loan?
No, home equity line of credit, because the reason why we replaced our mortgage with the home equity line of credit because it's open-ended. With a loan, with a home equity loan, it's pretty much closed. So you have this payment that you're making, you can't take money out, you can't put money in. With the home equity line of credit, what we did is that we put all of our income in there, and then whatever bills we had to pay, whatever we had to take out, from that home equity line of credit, that's what we use to pay our bills and, you know, whatever it may be. So it brought the interest, I mean, it brought our, I guess, interest to loan value down every 2 weeks because we got paid biweekly, and it just brought our interest down on every month. So pretty much we're doing interest only home equity line of credit payments. So our equity was high. It was so high because we bought our house during the recession. And over the years, as the economy grew, our house value grew even more, and we're able to refinance our mortgage into the HELOC quite easily because we had the equity. So we just replaced the whole thing, and that's where the $99K we had left, the bank easily approved us within 2 weeks, and we put the money in there, and then we just started attacking and put all of our money in and just took whatever we needed out to bring that balance lower and lower and lower. And that's how we're able to pay it off in a little bit over 2 years.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of this technique before, but I don't think we've ever interviewed anybody that's done
No,
it.
I
Yeah.
think I've heard it called like the velocity, something
Yeah.
like that.
So basically you guys, I'm assuming you either went to a bank, there's banks that can do it, but there's also like independent loan companies that
Yeah,
can do
did
it as
you all
well.
go through the bank where your mortgage was, or you went to an outside entity?
No, we did not go to the bank where our mortgage was. And the reason is because the reason I even got into the home equity line of credit, I was trying to remove the PMI, and the bank that I had my mortgage with, they refused. I mean, like I said, we bought our home during the, you know, when after the recession. So our equity increased so much, but they refused to remove the PMI. And so that's what just made me go on this quest and look into, okay, how can we reduce our expenses any way we can? And so we were looking at other banks, and their interest rate wasn't really working for us, but we did find a bank that gave us, I think it's a 2.64 interest rate locked in for a year. After the year, they do follow prime, but within that year, 2.64 interest rate was better than the 5% we were paying on our mortgage. And knowing that we're reducing the expenses every month, even if the interest rate went back up to prime, it wouldn't even matter, because by that time we would have, you know, our balance would be very, very low.
Policy Genius guarantees the best life insurance price for you and those you love. It's so simple to protect your family today in 5 easy steps. 1. Calculate quotes. 2. Compare companies. 3. Apply online. 4. Receive expert advice. And 5. Rest easy. It really is that simple. Calculate, compare, apply with Policy Genius. For more info, head on over to hisandhermoney.com/Policy Genius.
Yeah, so you guys took out a home. So I want to like paint the picture for those of you guys that are listening or either watching this interview. You guys took out a home equity line of credit, I'm assuming for the $99,000, right? That's what you guys had left, right? And so you paid the mortgage company that $99,000. So now the only person with the lien was the company that you have this HELOC on, right? So you guys had a 2.65% interest for the first year, and after the first year, prime plus whatever, right? And usually prime, like right now, 2019 prime is probably 5% maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, about 5%. And so that's pretty interesting. So therefore, every time you guys got paid, you all took your paycheck, instead of putting it inside of a savings account or a checking account, you guys put your paychecks into this HELOC, home equity line of credit, because you all were also provided checks. I'm assuming checks and a debit card possibly, or how could you guys access the money?
The bank that we went with just gave us checks.
Checks, okay.
So, but you don't even have to, if you open up a checking account with this bank, we can open up a free checking account. So if we open up a checking account with that bank, we could just transfer the money that we need to pay our bills into the checking account from the bank. So we didn't even have to do that. But
Gotcha. So you guys put your paychecks into this home equity line of credit, and whenever the bills were due, you paid the bills out of the home equity line of credit because your paycheck was in there, right? And by doing that, did you guys also have an approach where you all threw extra towards the line of credit, I'm assuming, so above your paychecks?
yes.
And then how did that work?
So again, if we had any bonuses, like my husband, he has a side business. I don't say side business. I'm sorry, not side business. He has a business.
Yes.
He has a business. So we would go in, and if we had any extra, we would put it in there. If I make any extra income myself, I would put in there. So yeah, it's open. So we would go and just if we had an extra, but we still had our savings. Again, I like my cushion. So we did this whole, let's put our whole paycheck in when I was comfortable with the amount of savings we had to make. I'm a saver, so when I was comfortable with the amount of money we had saved, I was like, okay, let's just go ahead and attack this. But the thing is that with the home equity line of credit, people kind of use it as their safety net as well, because as you're paying your balance down, you can take money out if an emergency was to happen. But we wanted our own emergency fund, so we didn't want to use it for that. But some people do. You do have that option as well, using it as an emergency fund, so to say.
And I think the beauty of the home equity line of credit too is that being that. So right now, let's just say if the mortgage payment that you would pay for your regular house, I'm just giving numbers, would be, let's just say $1,200, right? But with the home equity line of credit, your minimum payment would be about, let's just say almost about half of that. Let's just say about $500.
We did interest only.
Right. Financing, you're paying interest on the amount of money that you owe on the home equity line of credit versus the mortgage. It's your total. You're paying interest on a total amount of the mortgage. Which means you're paying a lot more money, right? Versus if you're with the home equity line of credit, you're only paying on what you owe, in addition to the fact that your minimum payment is half of that. So anything you pay extra, so let's just say $1,200 on your home equity line of credit, you're already paying above and beyond, your payment on that. So your home equity line of credit is going to go down fast.
And in case of emergency too, let's say God forbid, if you have a home equity line of credit and your interest only payments are $500, let's say you had a downturn for 3 months, that you have $500 you're paying for 3 months. It's better than a mortgage where you're paying $1,200. I mean, if I was to, something was to happen to us for 3 months, where it'll be a lot more difficult to pay that mortgage of $1,200 and the $500. Then when you get back on your feet, of course, you attack that home equity line of credit, where with the mortgage, you really don't have a choice.
Right, you have a choice.
Now, with the home equity line of credit, depending, of course, on the company or the bank that you go with, there's usually like a 10-year draw period where you can pull cash out and use it for 10 years. After 10 years, you can no longer draw, but you have to start paying it down, right? And so the payment does increase. So I'm assuming that you guys, your plan of attack was to pay, you knew that you all were going to be paying this off well before 10 years.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. And then did you guys also maintain and keep your same mortgage payment that you were giving that other mortgage company? Did you guys keep that same mortgage payment and just pretend as if you were applying it still towards the home equity line of credit?
Well, not because we put all of our money in
there.
Equity line of credit, but there is a calculator that we did use when we were planning on getting the HELOC. We used a calculator, and it showed us the amount of time it would take based on our budget. So what we pay, what's coming out, and based on what we're putting in, it showed us that if we kept that same path and we didn't change anything, we would be done paying the house within that 2 years, or a little bit over 2 years. So we made sure we did the calculator first, or we input our numbers first, and then we were like, okay, yeah, so we can do this. If anything shifted during that time, it's fine. But if we stayed on track, it showed us that, hey, in 2 years, this could be done. This can be done.
Yeah, and there are a lot of free resources and free calculators online. One of our favorite websites is bankrate.com. You can take a look at that website and play along with the calculators.
Now this strategy takes a whole lot of discipline. This ain't for play, right?
Yes.
Because you can get yourself in some trouble.
You can, yes.
Not on point. So talk about the level of discipline that it took to walk this, because it is a super powerful strategy to get that mortgage out of your life at a much higher rate, but you have to be disciplined. Can you talk about that?
Yes. I mean, for us, we pretty much, my husband don't really do all the paying stuff. But
I think I'm the one that probably needs more discipline. I think I should probably talk about this one.
Okay, you go ahead. You talk about it.
But I feel like, again, it goes back. I think what has held me also, as far as to really support what my wifey has brought up is understanding having a purpose, right? Like understanding that we're not doing this for no reason, right? We came up with a purpose statement for our marriage. And one of the first lines is to live life to the fullest. And the other way to live life to the fullest is one of the ways to live our life to the fullest is to be debt free. And I feel like that's what held us to be able to stay focused and disciplined, understanding that, okay, if we do this, it's going to allow us to fulfill that particular purpose. Like this is one of those things that's going to allow us to fulfill that purpose in our marriage and in our family.
Mm-hmm. That's dope. Take us to that moment where you made the very last payment and you realized, man,
This is it.
it's over. We did it. We're free. For those who are listening who have no idea what that feels like, they're working to get to that point. Paint the picture of how that went.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, I remember going to the bank because, we had such a low balance that, the extra money and the cushion that I had, we took that money and we went to the bank and we're like, okay, I went to the bank. Now my husband was living it, with me. But we went to the bank and, I was like, hey, this is the last payment. And, handed them that check. And I remember just, texting my husband and just letting him know that, hey, this is done. We're done. He was like, oh my goodness. And once he came home, we were just like dancing. We were so ecstatic. I mean, we didn't even see the balance to zero yet.
Yeah,
but the fact that, the money was given to the teller and I got the receipt.
Yes.
And that was just amazing. And then just waking up the next day before going to work and seeing the balance at zero was wonderful. I mean, we were like in shock. We were like, oh my goodness. Like,
I wish we have the receipt to just show you guys because it's posted up in our office, just like right there, so we can see it. But like, hey,
it was a reminder for us. Like we kept the receipt and we put it in our office area because it's a reminder for us. But it just brought us so much joy. And looking at our 3 kids, they don't understand it. Of course, not to the fullest, but we're like, hey, honey, hey, babies, this house is yours. Mama and Papa, we're done with this. No more.
Right.
And it was just amazing coming home and seeing that, wow, we're done.
Yeah, and this house is for us.
Like, it's for us.
Own this house.
The bank doesn't own it. Like it's
we own
us.
Yeah.
Talk about that because we know how that feels as well. Walking in the door and saying, "Man, this house is ours." Does it feel different? Does it even look different?
It feels different. It doesn't look so much different for us as far because we have a lot of stuff to do still.
Now we're gonna start, messing around,
tweaking around with it more. But it definitely does feel different coming through the door, knowing that, my goodness, like when we get paid, we don't have to send a check to the bank.
Yep.
Every month. And just we were here like Dave Ramsey, what he says, like, oh, the grass feels better, like things just, it just feels better. It's like, wow, and things just feels better. Like when you sit down in your house or on your couch, it just feels better. It's like you feel like you're not under that pressure, so to speak.
It's a pressure. And I think for like also going to work now, it also feels different because, like you said, it's going back. There's that pressure.
Yes.
That pressure is no longer there.
Yes.
It's like, okay, I'm here. I don't necessarily have to be here, but the only reason why I'm here is because there's things that we would like to fulfill as a family. And so it's no longer going to work because I have to go to work. Yeah. We're going to work because we just have things we want to accomplish,
Enjoy. Just having the options. And I think that was a big goal for us of being debt free, is having options because sometimes, you go to work and people are like, oh, or miserable or, and we didn't want to have that. We didn't want to live that where we feel like we're forced to or have to do a particular thing. Like, by the grace of God, I'm able to stay home. I mean, I was able to stay home even after, but again, there was things we want to accomplish. And for me personally, I wouldn't feel right to stay home until, we had this major thing accomplished. But just being able to be like, hey, I can stay home for a couple of years with the kids or whatever it may be, or start things, or, you know, whatever it may be, just having that option to do that. Or if he wants to, you know, and whatever it may be, just having the option is great, because some people unfortunately don't have that option. You know, you really have to work because you have bills and debts and so on and so forth. And you don't have that option to, you know, do those things because you're kind of like locked in into the whole debt system of debt.
And then the other thing too is, as you know, we're Haitians. So my parents, our parents, they travel to get here, and they're first people to land here.
Yeah, we're first generation
Haitian Americans. And when we were small, our parents did not have the ability to take us anywhere, to do anything with us, because they're so busy working, trying to provide for us, you know? And now, like, understanding that for us now it's different. We're now finally able to, and now we can have the ability to take our kids. So whatever our parents weren't able to do for us, now we can do for our kids. We can say, like you said, go on, let's just say 6 months or a year, and just go rent an RV and travel around the US, you know? But now we can do that, you know, versus before that option wasn't even available to us, but now it is. So
that's powerful.
It is.
Did you get to share this moment with your parents? Because like you said, they had a vision for you all, for this moment for you all, before you all even realized it, right? And they did a lot to even put you in a position to throw you the alley-oop and hope that you slammed it home. So were you able to, like, you know, were they able to share in this moment with you, like, look, mom and dad, we're honoring the legacy that you all set out for us to build?
Absolutely. You know, the sacrifices they made for us is what propelled us to do this, you know, and they were with us the whole journey, you know, from the, not even just paying off the home. I mean, when we paid off our cars, our student loans, you know, they celebrated with us, you know, and they were with us throughout the whole journey. You know, there were times where, you know, if I couldn't, you know, do a particular thing, they would still sacrifice with us. You know, they would, when I gave birth, you know, my mother-in-law, my mom, they would take some time off of work and help me raise the children and everything like that. But they were with the journey with us from beginning to the end and beyond, you know, and the sacrifice they made for us and the things that they showed us and taught us, we are so grateful for and so thankful for. But in the midst of all of it, it's like they were there, they're living it with us, and they celebrate with us. And so.
Yeah, I mean, my dad, he would periodically call me. He's like, James, where's how much you owe a house? I'm like, oh, we owe this much money. He's like, okay, great. I see the money's coming down. It's going down. So they'll periodically check. My dad, especially, he'll periodically check up, see where we're at with our bills. And,
keep us accountable.
Yeah, exactly. Keep us accountable. I mean, part of sacrificing, one of my things my dad did, I remember he paid for one of our car bills, car notes, payments, just to kind of, like, you know, I guess get things going, you know. It was like, well, he didn't have to do that, but he just did it just to, you know, sow that seed, you know, like, hey, you know. In addition to, I want to say that my there's something else, escaped my thought, but if it comes back, I'll let you guys know.
So since you guys used the strategy of using a HELOC to pay off the mortgage, now that the mortgage is paid, do you guys just still have the HELOC there in case you need it, or did you close it?
We still have it there in case we need it, because we do want to, you know, expand and look into, you know, real estate investing and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we still have it there. It's like $50 annually, but having it there with no type of, you know, payments, it's just $50 annually. So
yeah, that was going to be my next question. What's next for you guys? What are you guys looking at now? Real estate is definitely an option.
Yes. So yeah, definitely real estate. You know, we are in South Florida where a lot of things going on, and you know, it's a heavily I don't know if it's heavily populated. It's a populated city. So we definitely know that we, you know, go into that direction. I think we can have some success in it. Of course, it'll be a trial period for sure. But definitely, looking into investing, real estate investing, something small, not anything too crazy, because it's going to be our first go about. So, something definitely small.
Right. In addition to starting to invest in business or start stocks or whatnot. So
yeah,
you're looking
not using
into
HELOC though, but that's our own thing.
Yeah.
So with the strategy that you all used, if there are people like, man, I need to learn more about that, are there any resources out there that helped you guys understand this strategy and do it the right way that you would recommend others to check out?
Yes. So I went to replaceyourmortgage.com. That's where I was able to get the HELOC calculator, because the thing is that when I first came about this website after doing a lot of research, the average time people pay off their homes is 5 to 7 years. So using the HELOC method, if you do have a HELOC, or if you do want to convert your home mortgage into a HELOC, you can pay off your home in about 5 to 7 years. I mean, with our balance, since it was a little bit lower, it only took us about a little bit over 2 years. But if we still keep that HELOC strategy and we do invest into, a condo or a townhome or something small, with putting our income in plus the rental income, that place could be paid off in 3 years. And as you go into doing that, it could be paid off even more, because you're putting, not only your income, but the rental income in there as well. And because it's open-ended, you can pay it off quickly, whatever expense you have, but also, you can, if you have taxes or whatever it may be, that can be incorporated in there as well. So for us, that's a resource we use, and, going through the calculator and, putting the numbers in, it gives you a time frame on when things could be paid off quite simply after putting numbers in and budgeting. So that's the resource we use for that. Besides, with our debt journey with cars and credit cards and all that kind of stuff, Dave Ramsey, his and her money for sure.
Yes.
And, listening to YouTube videos, just hearing other people's story too, because it motivates us. It really does motivate us. Anybody that says, hey, I'm debt free or whatever it may be, I listen to them, because I want to see, just like you were saying, Ty, like not everybody has the same story. So I want to hear different people's story and see what they did, and not just for being debt free, but also building wealth as well. So what changed us a lot as well is Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think that,
oh my gosh,
that
revolutionized.
It spearheaded us into looking into investing and building wealth, and because before it's like, okay, yeah, we're debt free, okay,
what do you do now?
What do I do now? But I think that spearheaded us into looking into investment properties and looking into businesses, growing businesses and things like that, because being debt free is great, but building wealth for ourselves and our future, family, generation, our legacy, something that we definitely, would want. And it's not just for, for us to be like, all high and mighty, but we can do a lot more for other people as well. Not just for ourselves. It's not about us. It's about others. It's not about us. Our purpose in life is not just for us, just to be here and be comfortable and, just, sit back and, okay, we're done. We want to help. And a lot of times to help people, you can have your time sown into people, but people need monetary is a big way of helping people as well. There are people in need. There are people that need homes to stay in and things like that. So we definitely want to build that wealth aspect too, so we can be more of a help.
Well, guess what? You guys are now in position to do so because of the hard work, the sacrifice that you all put in up front. So we are ridiculously proud of you two for being an example of what good financial stewardship looks like. And now you guys are literally sitting in a paid off house. Congratulations.
Congrats, you guys.
Paying off that debt and now living your life to the fullest. Congrats.
Thank you
so much.
So if people want to keep up with you as you guys continue on your journey, where can they find you on the World Wide Web?
Yes. So I have my blog, but it's about all of our life, family. But we do talk about debt freedom and simple living at www.simplystlouis.us. And also building a YouTube channel called Simply St. Louis. So that's going to be the next steps.
And we'll be sure to have everything linked in the show notes of this episode for you guys to check out. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your schedule to share your incredible journey with the audience today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We love your journey, what you're doing, your shows,
Yes.
interviewing
It's beautiful.
everyone, and it's wonderful. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you.